What if I told you that your morning drink could be silently helping your liver burn fat instead of storing it? And what if a few simple changes in what you sip every day could support weight loss, better energy, and even protect you from chronic disease after 50? Most men focus on cutting calories or hitting the gym harder, but they completely overlook one of the most powerful tools for metabolic health, their liver. After the age of 50, a man's body begins to change in ways that are subtle at first but powerful over time. Testosterone gradually declines, muscle mass slowly shrinks, insulin sensitivity weakens, fat starts accumulating around the abdomen, and inside the body, something even more concerning can happen. Fat begins building up in the liver. This condition, often called fatty liver, can develop quietly without symptoms. You may feel a little more tired than usual. You may notice stubborn belly fat that refuses to budge. Blood sugar may creep up. Cholesterol may shift in the wrong direction. But underneath it all, your liver, the organ responsible for over 500 vital functions, is becoming sluggish. The liver is your body's metabolic engine. It processes nutrients, regulates blood sugar, burns fat, detoxifies harmful compounds, and supports hormone balance. When it becomes overloaded with fat, it can't do these jobs efficiently. That leads to more fat storage, more inflammation, and a cycle that becomes harder to break with age. The good news is that your liver is incredibly resilient. It has a remarkable ability to repair and regenerate when given the right support. And one of the simplest ways to start helping it today is through what you drink. Let's talk about 5 drinks that support liver fat reduction and may help speed up fat loss naturally. The first is green tea. Green tea is one of the most studied beverages in the world for metabolic health. It contains powerful plant compounds called catechins, particularly EGCG, which have been shown to support fat oxidation and reduce liver fat accumulation. For men over 50, this is important because fat metabolism slows with age. Green tea helps gently stimulate fat burning without overstimulating the nervous system. It can also improve insulin sensitivity, which helps prevent excess sugar from being converted into fat in the liver. Drinking 2 to 3 cups a day, ideally without added sugar, can provide steady support. It's not a magic solution, but over time it contributes to a healthier metabolic environment. The second drink is black coffee. Now, this surprises many people. Coffee has often been misunderstood, but high-quality black coffee consumed without sugar or heavy cream has strong evidence behind it for liver protection. Coffee contains antioxidants and bioactive compounds that reduce liver inflammation and may decrease the risk of fatty liver progression. Studies have shown that regular coffee drinkers often have lower levels of liver enzymes associated with damage. It also stimulates thermogenesis, which means your body burns slightly more calories. For men after 50% who feel their metabolism slowing down, that small metabolic boost can add up over time. 1 to 3 cups a day, depending on tolerance and sleep quality, can be beneficial. The third is beetroot juice. Beets are rich in nitrates and antioxidants that support blood flow and reduce oxidative stress. Better circulation means better oxygen delivery to tissues, including the liver. Beets also contain compounds that help support the liver's natural detoxification pathways. For men experiencing higher blood pressure, reduced stamina, or metabolic changes after 50, beetroot juice can offer a dual benefit, supporting cardiovascular health while helping the liver function more efficiently. Fresh, unsweetened beet juice or blended whole beets are better than processed sugary versions. The fourth drink is lemon water. Simple, inexpensive, and powerful. Lemon contains vitamin C and plant compounds that support antioxidant activity in the liver. While lemon water itself does not detox the liver in a dramatic way, it supports hydration, and hydration is critical for liver function. Many men walk around mildly dehydrated, which slows metabolic processes. Starting your day with warm water and fresh lemon can gently stimulate digestion, support bile flow, and encourage healthier habits throughout the day. Sometimes the benefit isn't just biochemical, it's behavioral. When you start your morning intentionally, you're more likely to make better food choices later. The fifth drink is unsweetened cranberry juice or tart cherry juice in moderation. These contain polyphenols that help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress in the liver. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the drivers of fatty liver disease and metabolic dysfunction. Tart cherry juice in particular has been studied for its role in improving sleep quality, and sleep is deeply connected to fat metabolism. Poor sleep increases cortisol, disrupts blood sugar control, and encourages fat storage, especially around the abdomen and liver. For men over 50 who struggle with sleep, a small serving of tart cherry juice in the evening may support both recovery and metabolic balance. Now here's something important. No drink, no matter how powerful, can outwork a poor lifestyle. These beverages support your liver, but they must be combined with foundational habits. Strength training is essential after 50. Muscle is your metabolic currency. The more muscle you maintain, the better your body handles blood sugar and burns fat. Even 2 to 3 sessions per week can dramatically improve insulin sensitivity. Protein intake becomes more important with age. Many men undereat protein, which accelerates muscle loss. Include high-quality protein sources like fish, eggs, legumes, and lean meats to support metabolic health. Reduce added sugars and refined carbohydrates. Excess sugar is directly converted into fat in the liver through a process called de novo lipogenesis. This is one of the fastest ways fatty liver develops. Eliminating sugary drinks alone can significantly reduce liver fat within weeks. Prioritize sleep. 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep regulates hormones that control hunger, fat storage, and recovery. Manage stress. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which encourages abdominal fat storage and worsens insulin resistance. Simple breathing exercises, walking outdoors, or mindfulness practices can have measurable effects. And finally, move daily. You don't have to run marathons. A brisk 30-minute walk after meals can dramatically improve blood sugar control and reduce the burden on your liver. Here's the encouraging part. Research shows that liver fat can begin decreasing within weeks of consistent lifestyle improvements. The liver responds quickly to reduced sugar intake, improved insulin sensitivity, and anti-inflammatory nutrients. That means it's never too late to start. Even if you're 55, 60, or 70, your body still has the capacity to heal. Think of these 5 drinks not as quick fixes, but as daily signals to your body. Signals that you are supporting your metabolism. Signals that you are reducing inflammation. Signals that you are giving your liver the nutrients and environment it needs to function at its best. After 50, health is no longer about extreme measures. It's about consistent, intelligent choices. What you sip every morning, and even ing may seem small, but small habits repeated daily reshape your biology over time. Your liver works for you every single day without complaint. The question is, are you giving it what it needs to work optimally? When most men think about burning fat, they immediately think about their stomach. They pinch the skin around their waist, they look at the scale, they blame their metabolism, and they assume the solution is to eat less and exercise more. But what many don't realize, especially after the age of 50, is that the real battleground for fat loss isn't just in the belly. It's deep inside the body, in an organ that rarely gets attention, the liver. Your liver is not just a detox organ, it is your primary fat processing factory. Every time you eat, nutrients are absorbed from your digestive system and delivered directly to the liver. It decides what to do with them. It converts carbohydrates into stored glycogen. It packages fats into usable forms. It regulates blood sugar. It produces bile to digest dietary fat. It manages cholesterol. It helps balance hormones. It filters toxins. It even plays a central role in controlling inflammation. More than 500 vital processes happen inside this single organ every day, quietly and efficiently, until it becomes overloaded. After 50, subtle shifts begin to change how your body handles energy. Testosterone gradually declines. Muscle mass decreases in a process known as sarcopenia. Insulin sensitivity weakens. Your cells don't respond to insulin as effectively as they once did, which means blood sugar stays elevated longer after meals. When that happens, the liver steps in to help. But instead of simply storing glucose as glycogen, T begins converting excess sugar into fat through a process called de novo lipogenesis. That fat can accumulate inside liver cells. This is how fatty liver develops. It doesn't usually happen overnight. It builds slowly, meal after meal, year after year. A little extra sugar here, a little less movement there. A few more late nights, a bit more stress. Over time, the liver starts storing fat within its own tissue. When liver fat rises above healthy levels, the organ becomes metabolically sluggish. It doesn't burn fat efficiently. It doesn't regulate blood sugar as precisely. It may release more triglycerides into the bloodstream. Inflammation increases. And this sets off a cascade that makes losing weight significantly harder. Many men over 50 experience stubborn belly fat and assume it's simply age. But often, that abdominal fat is connected to what's happening in the liver. When liver cells are overloaded with fat, insulin resistance worsens. Elevated insulin levels signal the body to store more fat. Especially in the abdominal area, the liver and belly fat are metabolically linked. You cannot fully address one without addressing the other. This is why the liver is the key fat-burning organ after 50. It acts like the central command center of metabolism. If it is functioning optimally, your body can efficiently switch between burning carbohydrates and burning fat. If it is burdened by excess fat and inflammation, your metabolic flexibility declines. You become more likely to store energy than to burn it. The encouraging part is that the liver is remarkably adaptable. Unlike many organs, it has a strong capacity to regenerate and recover when given the right environment. ENT. Research shows that liver fat can decrease within weeks when dietary sugar is reduced and metabolic stress is lowered. That means this is not a permanent condition. It is dynamic. It responds to your daily habits. Understanding why liver fat accumulates is critical. Excess refined carbohydrates and sugary beverages are among the biggest drivers. When you consume sugar, especially fructose, it is processed almost entirely in the liver. In small amounts, this is manageable. But when intake is high and consistent, the liver converts excess fructose into fat. Unlike glucose, which can be used by many tissues in the body, fructose is primarily handled by the liver. This makes high sugar diets particularly damaging to liver health. Alcohol can compound this issue. Even moderate drinking can increase fat accumulation in susceptible individuals. Combine that with sedentary behavior and reduced muscle mass after 50, and you create the perfect metabolic storm. Muscle plays a crucial role in protecting the liver. Skeletal muscle is one of the largest sites of glucose disposal in the body. When muscle mass declines, your capacity to store glucose safely decreases. That leaves more circulating sugar that the liver must handle. If glycogen stores are full, the excess gets converted into fat. This is one reason strength training becomes so essential after 50. Maintaining muscle isn't just about appearance or strength, it's about metabolic health and liver protection. Insulin resistance is another central factor. When cells stop responding efficiently to insulin, the pancreas produces more of it. Chronically elevated insulin levels promote fat storage and suppress fat burning. The liver becomes resistant to insulin signals, leading to increased glucose production even when blood sugar is already high. This further contributes to metabolic imbalance. Fatty liver is often silent in its early stages. Many men feel completely normal. Some may experience mild fatigue or difficulty losing weight, but nothing alarming. Blood tests may show slightly elevated liver enzymes, but sometimes even those remain within normal ranges. Meanwhile, liver fat quietly interferes with metabolic control. What makes this especially important after 50 is that the risk of chronic diseases increases during this period. Cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and cognitive decline all share common metabolic roots. Liver health sits at the center of these processes. A fatty liver contributes to higher triglycerides, lower HDL cholesterol, increased inflammation, and impaired blood sugar regulation. It becomes a driver of broader systemic risk. Reversing liver fat is not about extreme dieting. In fact, crash diets can sometimes worsen metabolic stress. The solution is consistency. Reducing added sugars and refined carbohydrates is one of the fastest ways to lower liver fat. When you remove the constant influx of excess sugar, the liver begins using stored fat for energy. Studies have shown that even short-term reductions in sugar intake can significantly decrease liver fat content. Physical activity accelerates this process. Aerobic exercise increases fat oxidation. Strength training improves insulin sensitivity and builds muscle mass. Together, they create an environment where the liver is no longer forced to convert excess energy into fat. Instead, the body begins mobilizing stored fat as fuel. Protein intake also becomes more important. Adequate protein supports muscle preservation, which indirectly reduces metabolic burden on the liver. It also improves satiety, helping reduce overeating and blood sugar spikes. Sleep plays a surprisingly powerful role. Poor sleep increases cortisol and disrupts hormones that regulate appetite and insulin sensitivity. Chronic sleep deprivation has been linked to increased liver fat accumulation. After 50, sleep patterns often shift, making intentional sleep hygiene critical for metabolic health. Stress management matters as well. Chronic psychological stress elevates cortisol, which can increase blood sugar and promote abdominal fat storage. The liver responds to stress hormones by releasing glucose into the bloodstream. When stress is constant, this repeated signal contributes to metabolic overload. Hydration supports liver function by facilitating circulation and metabolic processes. While water itself does not flush toxins in a dramatic way, adequate hydration ensures that the liver can efficiently carry out its biochemical tasks. Another important factor is dietary quality. Whole foods rich in fiber, phytonutrients, and healthy fats reduce inflammation and support metabolic stability. Fiber slows glucose absorption, preventing sharp spikes in blood sugar that would otherwise stress the liver. Omega-3 fatty acids help reduce liver fat and inflammation. Antioxidant-rich foods reduce oxidative stress within liver cells. What's empowering is that even modest weight loss, around 5 to 10% of body weight, has been shown to significantly reduce liver fat. You don't need to reach extreme levels of leanness. The liver responds to small, sustainable improvements. It's also important to understand that fatty liver is not just a condition affecting people who are visibly overweight. Some men with normal body weight still accumulate liver fat due to poor diet, low muscle mass, and genetic susceptibility. This makes lifestyle quality more important than appearance alone. After 50, metabolic flexibility becomes a priority. This refers to your body's ability to switch between burning carbohydrates and burning fat depending on availability. A healthy liver is essential for this flexibility. When liver fat is high, this switching mechanism becomes impaired. You may feel fatigued between meals. You may crave carbohydrates more frequently. You may struggle with energy dips in the afternoon. Restoring liver health improves this adaptability. The liver also plays a central role in cholesterol metabolism. It produces and clears cholesterol from the bloodstream. When liver function is compromised, lipid balance shifts in unhealthy directions. This links fatty liver to increased cardiovascular risk. Hormone regulation is another overlooked connection. The liver helps metabolize and clear excess hormones from the body. When its function declines, hormonal balance can shift, contributing to further metabolic disruption. The key message is that the liver is not just a passive filter. It is an active regulator of energy, fat storage, and metabolic health. After 50, when hormonal and metabolic changes naturally occur, supporting this organ becomes even more important. The encouraging reality is that the body is responsive. Within weeks of consistent lifestyle improvements, reducing sugar, increasing movement, prioritizing protein, sleeping adequately, managing stress, liver fat can begin to decline, blood markers improve, energy stabilizes, abdominal fat becomes easier to lose. This is not about quick fixes. It is about understanding biology. When you shift your focus from simply cutting calories to improving liver function, you address the root of stubborn fat gain. You support the organ that determines whether energy is stored or burned. Many men spend years fighting symptoms without realizing the underlying mechanism. They blame age, genetics, or slow metabolism. But metabolism is not a single switch that turns off at 50%. It is a network of processes largely coordinated by the liver. By protecting and restoring liver health, you restore metabolic control, you improve insulin sensitivity, you reduce inflammation, you enhance fat oxidation, you lower triglycerides, you support cardiovascular health, you stabilize blood sugar. The liver responds to what you do every day. Every meal sends it information, every walk improves its efficiency, every night of quality sleep gives it time to repair, every reduction in added sugar reduces its burden. When you understand that your liver is the true fat-burning organ, your strategy changes. You stop chasing extreme diets. You start building daily habits that reduce metabolic overload. You prioritize muscle. You choose whole foods. You move consistently. You hydrate. You rest. After 50, this approach is not optional if you want long-term vitality. It is foundational. Because when the liver functions well, fat loss becomes more achievable, energy becomes more stable, and the risk of chronic disease declines in measurable ways. When it comes to improving liver health and accelerating fat loss, after 50, most men immediately think about cutting food. They focus on what to remove from their plate, fewer carbohydrates, less fat, smaller portions, but they rarely think about what they are drinking. And that's a critical mistake, because what you sip every single day can either overload your liver with sugar and inflammation or quietly support it in burning fat more efficiently. As we age, our tolerance for metabolic stress decreases. The same sugary soda or sweetened coffee that your body handled at 30 can create much more damage at 55. Insulin sensitivity declines, muscle mass shrinks, hormonal shifts occur, the liver becomes more vulnerable to accumulating fat. That means beverages, often consumed mindlessly, can have an outsized impact on metabolic health. The good news is that certain drinks contain natural compounds that support liver function, reduce inflammation, and enhance fat metabolism. These are not magic potions. They do not melt fat overnight. But when used consistently as part of a healthy lifestyle, they create an internal environment that favors fat burning rather than fat storage. Let's start with green tea. Green tea is one of the most researched beverages in metabolic science. It contains a group of powerful plant compounds called catechins, especially epigallocatechin gallate, or EGCG. These compounds influence how the body processes fat at a cellular level. They enhance fat oxidation, meaning they help your body use fat as fuel. For men over 50, this is particularly valuable because fat oxidation tends to decline with age. Green tea also supports insulin sensitivity. When your cells respond better to insulin, your body requires less of it. Lower insulin levels mean less signaling to store fat. That directly reduces the burden on the liver. Studies have shown that regular green tea consumption is associated with lower liver fat content and improved liver enzyme markers. There's also an anti-inflammatory component. Fatty liver is not just about fat accumulation, it's about inflammation inside liver cells. Chronic inflammation damages tissue and worsens metabolic dysfunction. The antioxidants in green tea help neutralize oxidative stress, reducing that inflammatory burden. Importantly, green tea provides a gentle metabolic lift without overstimulating the nervous system when consumed in moderate amounts. Unlike high-sugar energy drinks that spike blood sugar and insulin, green tea offers support without metabolic chaos. 2 to 3 cups per day, unsweetened, can become a powerful daily habit. Next is black coffee. For years, coffee was viewed with suspicion, but modern research paints a very different picture. High-quality black coffee consumed without added sugar or heavy cream is one of the most protective beverages for liver health. Coffee contains hundreds of bioactive compounds, including chlorogenic acids and polyphenols. These compounds reduce inflammation and oxidative stress in the liver. Numerous studies have shown that regular coffee drinkers tend to have lower rates of fatty liver progression and lower liver enzyme levels. One reason coffee is beneficial is that it enhances thermogenesis, the process by which your body produces heat and burns calories. While the effect is modest, over time it contributes to higher energy expenditure. For men after 50 who feel their metabolism slowing down, this subtle increase in calorie burn can make a meaningful difference when combined with proper nutrition and exercise. Coffee also appears to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. Since insulin resistance is a key driver of liver fat accumulation, anything that improves insulin function indirectly supports liver health. However, the form of coffee matters. Sweetened coffee drinks loaded with syrups and whipped cream completely reverse these benefits. The added sugar becomes a direct source of fat production in the liver. Keeping coffee simple and unsweetened preserves its protective properties. The third drink is beetroot juice. Beets are rich in dietary nitrates, which convert into nitric oxide in the body. Nitric oxide relaxes blood vessels and improves circulation. Better circulation means improved oxygen and nutrient delivery to tissues, including the liver. Enhanced blood flow supports metabolic activity and tissue repair. Beets also contain betalains, powerful antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. In fatty liver conditions, oxidative stress plays a central role in cell damage. By reducing this stress, beetroot supports healthier liver cells. Another important benefit of beetroot juice is its effect on exercise performance. Improved blood flow and oxygen delivery can enhance stamina. For men over 50, maintaining physical activity is critical for reducing liver fat. If beetroot helps you walk longer, lift more effectively, or recover better, it indirectly contributes to fat loss. Beetroot also supports blood pressure regulation. Hypertension often accompanies metabolic dysfunction and fatty liver. Supporting cardiovascular health and liver health simultaneously creates a synergistic benefit. It's important to choose fresh or minimally processed beet juice without added sugars. Whole blended beets are even better because they retain fiber, which slows glucose absorption and prevents blood sugar spikes. The fourth drink is lemon water. At first glance, lemon water seems too simple to be powerful, but its strength lies in consistency and support rather than dramatic effect. Lemons are rich in vitamin C and flavonoids, which support antioxidant defenses in the body. The liver relies heavily on antioxidant systems to neutralize toxins and manage metabolic processes. Vitamin C plays a role in regenerating other antioxidants, enhancing the body's ability to handle oxidative stress. Hydration is another key factor. Many men are chronically underhydrated, especially if they consume coffee and alcohol without adequate water intake. Proper hydration supports blood flow, nutrient transport, and metabolic efficiency. The liver performs complex biochemical reactions that require an optimal fluid balance. Drinking warm lemon water in the morning may also stimulate bile production. Bile is essential for digesting and absorbing dietary fats. Efficient fat digestion reduces metabolic strain and supports overall liver function. Beyond the biochemical effects, lemon water often acts as a behavioral anchor. Starting the day with a simple, intentional health habit increases the likelihood of making better food choices throughout the day. Health is often built on small daily rituals, eaten consistently. The fifth drink is tart cherry juice or unsweetened cranberry juice in moderation. These beverages are rich in polyphenols, which have strong anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the underlying drivers of fatty liver disease. Tart cherry juice has been studied for its ability to improve sleep quality. Sleep is not just about feeling rested, it is deeply connected to metabolic health. Poor sleep increases cortisol levels, disrupts insulin sensitivity, and promotes fat storage, especially in the abdominal area and liver. When sleep improves, hormone regulation stabilizes. Appetite-regulating hormones such as ghrelin and leptin function more effectively. Blood sugar control improves. The liver experiences less metabolic stress. Cranberry juice, when unsweetened, contains compounds that may improve lipid metabolism and reduce oxidative damage. However, portion control matters because even natural sugars can accumulate if consumed excessively. These 5 drinks share common themes. They reduce inflammation, they improve insulin sensitivity, they support antioxidant defenses, they enhance circulation, they promote metabolic flexibility. None of them work by extreme stimulation or drastic detoxification. Instead, they gently shift your internal environment toward balance. What makes this particularly important after 50 is that recovery capacity declines with age. The body becomes less forgiving of poor habits. Repeated blood sugar spikes, chronic stress, and sedentary behavior accumulate damage more quickly. Supporting the liver through daily beverage choices becomes a simple but effective strategy to counteract that decline. It's also critical to recognize what these drinks replace. If you remove sugary sodas, sweetened juices, and high-calorie alcohol cocktails and replace them with green tea, black coffee, beet juice, lemon water, or tart cherry juice, you dramatically reduce sugar load. Since excess sugar is directly converted into liver fat, this substitution alone can significantly decrease fat accumulation. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. Drinking green tea once will not transform your metabolism, but drinking it daily while reducing added sugar creates a sustained effect. The liver responds to patterns, it adapts to the environment you create. Pairing these beverages with strength training amplifies their effects. Exercise increases fat oxidation and improves insulin sensitivity. When combined with anti-inflammatory nutrients from these drinks, the metabolic benefits compound. Protein intake supports muscle preservation, which indirectly reduces liver fat. Muscle acts as a glucose reservoir. The more muscle you maintain, the less excess glucose is diverted to fat production in the liver. Managing stress enhances these benefits further. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which promotes fat storage and increases blood sugar. Anti-inflammatory beverages can only do so much if stress remains uncontrolled. Sleep, movement, nutrition, hydration, and stress management all interact with liver function. These drinks serve as supportive tools within a larger system. Another important concept is metabolic signaling. Phytonutrients in green tea, coffee, beets, cherries, and cranberries act as signals to your cells. They activate pathways involved in fat oxidation, antioxidant production, and cellular repair. These signals accumulate over time, reshaping metabolic patterns. After 50, small daily improvements often outperform extreme short-term interventions. A steady reduction in liver fat leads to improved energy levels. Blood markers such as triglycerides and fasting glucose begin to improve. Abdominal fat becomes more responsive to diet and exercise. It's not about chasing rapid transformation, it's about restoring metabolic flexibility. A healthy liver can efficiently switch between burning stored fat and processing nutrients from meals. When liver fat declines, insulin sensitivity improves. When insulin sensitivity improves, fat storage decreases. These beverages support that shift. They reduce the inflammatory signals that promote fat accumulation. They provide antioxidants that protect liver cells. They gently stimulate metabolism without overwhelming the system. The real power lies in integration. A morning of lemon water followed by green tea, a mid-morning black coffee, beet juice before a workout, tart cherry juice in the evening to support sleep. Over weeks and months, these patterns reinforce each other. Your liver is constantly responding to what you provide. Every sip sends information. Every reduction in sugar lowers its workload. Every antioxidant reduces cellular stress. After 50, protecting liver health becomes a strategic priority for maintaining vitality, reducing stubborn fat, stabilizing blood sugar, and lowering disease risk. These 5 drinks offer practical, accessible tools that align with how the body actually functions. They do not promise miracles. They support biology. They reduce burden. They enhance natural processes that already exist within you. And when those processes operate efficiently, fat loss becomes more achievable and sustainable. It's easy to get excited about specific drinks that support liver health and fat metabolism. Green tea, black coffee, beetroot juice, lemon water, tart cherry juice, each has research behind it. Each contains compounds that reduce inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and support metabolic function. But here's the reality that many men overlook. No single drink can override a poor lifestyle. If sleep is broken, stress is constant, movement is minimal, and nutrition is dominated by sugar and processed foods, even the healthiest beverages will have limited impact. After 50, the body becomes more sensitive to lifestyle choices. Hormonal shifts begin to reshape metabolism. Testosterone gradually declines, muscle mass naturally decreases unless actively maintained. Recovery slows, insulin sensitivity weakens. This doesn't mean decline is inevitable, it means strategy becomes more important. Precision matters, consistency matters, and foundational habits become non-negotiable. Strength training sits at the center of that foundation. Muscle is not just about appearance or lifting heavier weights, it is metabolically active tissue. It acts as a reservoir for glucose, pulling sugar out of the bloodstream and storing it safely as glycogen. When muscle mass declines, the body loses one of its primary tools for managing blood sugar. That excess glucose is more likely to be converted into fat in the liver. For men over 50, resistance training 2 to 4 times per week can dramatically improve insulin sensitivity. It stimulates muscle protein synthesis, helping preserve and rebuild lean mass. Even modest increases in muscle improve metabolic rate and fat oxidation. When combined with supportive beverages like green tea or black coffee, the fat-burning effect becomes amplified because the body is primed to use stored energy more efficiently. You don't need extreme workouts. Compound movements such as squats, push-ups, rows, and presses performed with proper form create powerful hormonal responses. They increase growth hormone and support testosterone levels naturally. The goal is not exhaustion, it's stimulation and consistency. Protein intake becomes equally important. Many men over 50 underconsume protein, especially at breakfast. Without adequate protein, muscle repair is compromised. Over time, this accelerates muscle loss and worsens metabolic health. Consuming sufficient high-quality protein, such as eggs, fish, legumes, Greek yogurt, or lean meats, supports muscle preservation and satiety. Protein also has a higher thermic effect, meaning the body burns more calories digesting it compared to fats or carbohydrates. When protein intake is adequate, blood sugar spikes are moderated. Stable blood sugar reduces insulin surges, and lower insulin levels reduce fat storage signals in the liver. This directly supports the goal of reducing liver fat and speeding up fat loss. Reducing added sugars and refined carbohydrates is one of the most powerful steps you can take. Excess sugar, particularly fructose, is processed almost entirely by the liver. When glycogen stores are full, the liver converts surplus sugar into fat. Over time, this fat accumulates within liver cells. No amount of green tea can fully counteract daily sugary beverages or desserts. Eliminating sweetened drinks alone can dramatically lower liver fat within weeks. Soda, sweetened coffee drinks, energy drinks, and fruit juices with added sugar place a heavy burden on metabolic pathways. Replacing them with water, herbal tea, black coffee, or the supportive beverages discussed earlier reduces that burden immediately. Fiber is another critical component. Whole vegetables, legumes, nuts, seeds, and whole fruits slow the absorption of glucose. This prevents rapid blood sugar spikes that stress the liver. Fiber also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which influence inflammation and metabolic regulation. A healthy gut microbiome supports liver function through what scientists call the gut-liver axis. Sleep is often underestimated. Chronic sleep deprivation increases cortisol and disrupts hormones that regulate hunger and fat storage. When you sleep poorly, ghrelin, the hormone that stimulates appetite, rises. Leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, declines. This hormonal imbalance increases cravings for high-calorie foods. Poor sleep also worsens insulin resistance. When insulin sensitivity declines, more insulin is required to control blood sugar. Elevated insulin levels promote fat storage and suppress fat burning. The liver becomes more prone to accumulating fat under these conditions. Prioritizing 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night is not a luxury, it is metabolic therapy. Establishing a consistent bedtime, limiting screen exposure before bed, keeping the bedroom cool and dark, and reducing caffeine late in the day can significantly improve sleep quality. If tart cherry juice support dead or rest, it becomes part of a larger sleep strategy rather than a standalone solution. Stress management is equally vital. Chronic psychological stress keeps cortisol levels elevated. Cortisol signals the body to release glucose into the bloodstream in preparation for action. When stress is constant and physical activity is low, that glucose has nowhere to go. It contributes to insulin resistance and fat storage. Over time, chronic stress promotes abdominal fat accumulation, which is closely linked to liver fat. Mindfulness practices, breathing exercises, walking outdoors, journaling, prayer, or any activity that lowers stress hormones can improve metabolic health. Even short daily practices reduce sympathetic nervous system dominance and restore hormonal balance. Daily movement outside structured workouts plays a powerful role. Sitting for prolonged periods slows metabolic processes. Taking short walks after meals improves blood sugar control. Light activity increases fat oxidation. Non-exercise movement, such as household tasks or standing breaks, contributes significantly to total energy expenditure. Hydration supports circulation and metabolic efficiency. Dehydration increases fatigue and reduces exercise performance, making consistent movement harder. Drinking adequate water throughout the day ensures that metabolic processes function optimally. Alcohol consumption deserves careful attention. While occasional moderate intake may fit within a healthy lifestyle for some individuals, excessive alcohol directly increases liver fat accumulation. The liver prioritizes alcohol metabolism over fat metabolism. When alcohol intake is high, fat oxidation decreases, fat storage increases. Limiting alcohol reduces inflammatory stress on the liver and allows it to focus on metabolic regulation. Combined with antioxidant-rich beverages and whole foods, this creates a restorative environment. Healthy fats also matter. Omega-3 fatty acids from sources such as fatty fish, walnuts, and flax seeds reduce liver fat and inflammation. They improve lipid profiles and support cell membrane health. Replacing processed vegetable oils with healthier fat sources improves metabolic signaling. Consistency is the unifying principle. Extreme short-term diets often produce rapid weight loss, but are difficult to sustain. When normal eating patterns resume, weight and liver fat often return. Sustainable habits produce steady improvements that accumulate over time. The body responds to patterns, not occasional efforts. One intense week of workouts followed by 3 sedentary weeks will not create lasting metabolic change. But moderate, regular strength training paired with supportive nutrition reshapes physiology. After 50, recovery becomes part of the equation. Overtraining can increase cortisol and inflammation, undermining progress. Balanced programming that includes rest days allows muscles to repair and hormones to stabilize. Sunlight exposure supports circadian rhythm and vitamin D production. Vitamin D deficiency has been linked to metabolic dysfunction and fatty liver. Spending time outdoors, especially in the morning, anchors the body's internal clock and improves sleep quality later. Social connection influences stress and long-term adherence to healthy habits. Isolation increases psychological stress and negatively impacts hormonal balance. Engaging in group exercise, community activities, or shared meals with healthy foods reinforces positive patterns. Regular health monitoring provides feedback. Checking fasting glucose, triglycerides, liver enzymes, and waist circumference offers objective markers of progress. Seeing improvements reinforces motivation and guides adjustments. It's also important to shift mindset. Many men approach health reactively. They wait for alarming symptoms before making changes, but metabolic dysfunction develops quietly. Taking proactive steps before disease emerges preserves quality of life. The drinks discussed earlier, green tea, black coffee, beetroot juice, lemon water, tart cherry juice, fit within this broader framework. They are tools that enhance fat oxidation, reduce inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. But without strength training, adequate protein, reduced sugar, sleep, stress management, and daily movement, their potential is limited. Think of lifestyle as the foundation and beverages as supportive enhancements. Without a stable base, enhancements cannot function effectively. But when the foundation is solid, small additions create meaningful acceleration. Another key concept is metabolic flexibility, the body's ability to switch between burning carbohydrates and burning fat. Sedentary behavior and high sugar intake impair this flexibility. Strength training and balanced nutrition restore it. When flexibility improves, the body becomes more efficient at accessing stored fat, including fat in the liver. Time also matters. Expecting dramatic transformation within days leads to frustration. Liver fat reduction often begins within weeks of consistent lifestyle changes, but visible body composition changes may take longer. Patience reinforces sustainability. Avoiding ultra-processed foods reduces exposure to additives and excessive refined carbohydrates. Whole foods provide micronutrients that support enzymatic processes in the liver. Zinc, magnesium, B vitamins, and antioxidants all contribute to metabolic efficiency. Breathing patterns influence stress response. Slow, controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering cortisol and improving metabolic balance. Even 5 minutes daily can produce measurable effects. Meal timing can support insulin regulation. Avoiding large, late-night meals gives the liver time to process nutrients efficiently. Some individuals benefit from structured eating windows that reduce constant insulin stimulation, though personalization is important. Maintaining a healthy body weight reduces strain on the liver, but focusing solely on the scale can be misleading. Body composition, particularly muscle mass and visceral fat, matters more than total weight. Strength training improves composition even if the scale changes slowly. Recovery practices such as stretching, mobility work, and adequate protein intake prevent injury and maintain consistency in training. Consistency compounds benefits. Environmental toxins and pollutants also affect liver function. Minimizing unnecessary exposure to processed chemicals and prioritizing whole foods reduces detoxification burden. Routine medical checkups ensure that underlying conditions such as thyroid dysfunction or metabolic syndrome are addressed appropriately. Each of these components interacts. Sleep affects stress hormones. Stress influences eating behavior. Nutrition affects energy for workouts. Exercise improves sleep quality. Hydration supports exercise performance. The system is interconnected. No single drink can repair a disrupted system on its own, but when daily habits align with biological principles, the body responds remarkably well. Liver fat decreases, insulin sensitivity improves, energy stabilizes, abdominal fat becomes easier to lose. After 50, health is less about intensity and more about integration. Small daily actions, lifting weights, eating balanced meals, sleeping well, managing stress, staying hydrated, create metabolic resilience. Supportive beverages amplify these effects, but they cannot substitute for them. True fat loss acceleration happens when the liver is no longer overwhelmed, muscles are actively engaged, insulin levels remain stable, inflammation is reduced, and stress is controlled. That state is built through